Pilots are starting to report UFOs like never before. Tim Burchett is talking alien abductions and other UFO news. It's time for another UFO news roundup. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, this is, I was clued into this from Ross Coulthart, who is talking about this article from The Debrief. So let's just go right to the article. Here we go. Pilot UFO sightings collected by NASA reveal serious safety concerns over objects in U.S. airspace. Several reports describing recent U.S. pilot UFO sightings in controlled airspace convey the serious concerns aviators have about potential collisions with unknown objects, the debrief has learned. The unresolved aerial encounters with what the Pentagon now calls U.A.P. were filed as incident reports with NASA's Aviation Safety Reporting System and describe events in U.S. airspace that highlight ongoing safety concerns associated with appearances of aerial objects of unknown origin. And the article goes on to describe several different incidents where pilots have seen UFOs. And some of them are really interesting and definitely worth reading about. But I don't want to bore you by reading the whole article, so I'll just skip down to the bottom here. It talks about could it be drones, etc. And Arrow, Kirkpatrick. The less I read about Kirkpatrick, the better. But here we go. To date, there is still no formal government reporting system for pilots and others to use to directly report their UAP encounters to Arrow, more than a year after the office was officially established. Now, this article came out before Arrow released its website, so I'm wondering if things have changed now. But it's a good point. Also running late is a report based on the findings of NASA's independent study, which was initially expected to be delivered in July. Although the study's official NASA UAP FAQ page only says that the report will be released in mid-2023. Although NASA says it is conducting the study for the agency's own science and air safety purposes, it remains unclear whether the independent study team has analyzed UAP incident reports recently obtained through the ASRS, the reporting system, or from other sources that collect similar pilot sightings. So there you go. NASA is getting into the UFO game, at least in terms of pilot reports, because they're concerned about possible collisions, which is interesting because the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick denied there were any collisions. Of course, go and watch Preston Dennett's excellent UFO video, a rundown where he talks about the various times the UFOs have indeed collided with human vehicles, from planes, trains, to automobiles. Yeah, that's right. UFO hit a train once. Isn't that crazy? Okay, but pilot reports through NASA are not the only game in town. Ryan Graves is on this in a big way.
The hearings, have you noticed an uptick or a change in the reports that you're receiving?
I've noticed from commercial pilots that there is absolutely an uptick. Some relatively new information, I guess you could say, is that I am hearing from cases that are more broadly dispersed. So I have been reporting that north of the Atlantic and the north of the Pacific as well, pilots that are doing those transatlantic or trans-Pacific flights are seeing various objects, lights that are coming down, behaving in strange ways, holding in a pattern, look like almost like they're dogfighting in space in some way, kind of back and forth with each other. I've reported that coming out near the Big Dipper in the hearings. And since then, I've heard from many other pilots that have reported similar sightings that match the same description in other parts, such as in north-south flights off the eastern seaboard and elsewhere. So we are starting to get a broader data set now that more pilots both feel comfortable and understand that they're not the only ones with this problem. There's one thing that almost every pilot that talks to me says is that I didn't realize that other people were seeing this until I broached it with someone and they said, yeah, I've seen that too.
There you go. Ryan Graves is out there trying to encourage pilots to come forward, and it looks like he's having some real good success. So there we go. We have NASA getting into this in a big way, or at least a way. And we have Ryan Graves out there getting commercial pilots to come forward. So I'm really excited to see more and more pilot testimonies about what they are seeing in the skies. Meanwhile, Tim Burchett goes on a podcast and gets asked a question about alien abductions. So here we have a sitting U.S. congressperson addressing alien abductions. Let's see what he has to say.
What steps would the United States government take in basically expressing to their citizens that we are in a situation where people are being removed for some reason, that reason aside, and there's nothing that we can do to stop that?
Well, I'd volunteer about 350 people for that process if I had that. If I was able to do that, but I don't know. I've never had that question asked.
That's what we do.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
That's
I've talked to abductees before too, and like I said, as a congressman, all I want is transparency. I didn't.
Is it safe to say though that you would take it as serious, if not more
if somebody
serious?
brought me undeniable proof that was going on, you're dead dumb right on 100%. That's why I don't knock people for their different. I know you got the cube with the plasma, and we talked a little bit about it in the off. That's something that has been spotted, and I just say I've been in a different setting. I've been told of similar type things from some very reliable sources, and but I don't understand it. I don't get it. All I can understand is some craft flying around up here, and something's in it flying it, and it's a simple thing, and I can understand it. But again, I just want to turn loose the files, turn loose the videos, turn loose the pictures.
There you go, Tim Burchett addressing alien abductions. He says he's actually talked to abductees before, and he seems to take it seriously. On the other hand, he does suggest that he needs more evidence, and if he was brought forth credible evidence, then he would take it seriously. So I'm not sure if he's quite on board the alien abduction train or not. Of course, he may be, kind of walking a delicate line. How far can a sitting U.S. congressperson actually push that? Very essential and important issue. I mean, that is why the beings are here in large part, it seems to be, is to carry out these abductions. That's why many of them are here. That's what a lot of the phenomenon is based around. According to the Roper poll conducted by John Mack, Bud Hopkins, and David Jacobs, in the 90s, it looks like 2% of the global populace is being abducted. David Jacobs has since said the real number is closer to 5%. They didn't want to alarm people, so they had to arbitrarily whittle that percentage down. So that's like 1 out of 20 people being abducted, according to David Jacobs in that Roper poll. So that's a shocking number of people. That's hundreds of millions of people. That's insane. And they get abducted frequently, many times a year throughout their entire lifespan. So just imagine the scale of that activity. It's just mind-blowing. It's staggering. So it is a fundamental reason why for the UFO phenomenon. It's an essential reason why they're here, whether they are doing experiments on us, whether they may have created us and they're doing periodic upgrades, or if it's for a benevolent reason, if it's for a scientific reason, if they're draining loose from people, we just don't know. And it could be all of the above. It could be different parties doing different things for different reasons, viewing us as a resource for some particular purpose. Many people think that the alien abduction phenomenon is benevolent and it's for upgrades, and that we have actually agreed to this process between lives. And that comes up again and again and again, this idea of a soul contract or a soul agreement where people have entered into this willingly. And when they ask questions about the beings, and they are allowed to remember having that agreement. And so many contactees or abductees are very willing, and they don't even want to be called abductees. They want to be called contactees because they are willing participants, but others are not. And others, when they are made to undergo hypnotic regression to remember their experiences, or remember very traumatizing experiences that they probably wish they hadn't remembered. So, yeah, so there's a lot going on there. The UFO abduction phenomenon is huge, and it's an essential, seemingly an essential part of why the UFOs are here and what the occupants are doing. So it needs to be addressed. Congress needs to get on board with this. I'm glad to see Tim talking openly about it. I wish that he would, talk even more openly about it. I want to know what he knows and what others in Congress know. What have the people in the intelligence committees, for example, been told? People like Kirsten Gillibrand and Marco Rubio, people that seem to know more than people in the House Oversight Committee. And seem to be withholding information from the rest of us, and maybe steering things along a certain path that aren't necessarily transparent. So anyway, but it's very interesting to see this topic getting some play in Congress. In other news, the James Webb Telescope gazes into the Whirlpool Galaxy's hypnotic spiral arms. That's right. In 2011, scientists imaging M51 with the Hubble hoped to capture the galaxy with the JWST one day. That day has arrived. And behold, the beautiful pictures. M51, also known as NGC 5194, lies about 27 million light years away from Earth in the constellation Canis Venatici. I said that right. And is trapped in a tumultuous relationship with its near neighbor, the dwarf galaxy, and it gives the the numbers. So there you go. With a hypnotic new image released on Tuesday, the James Webb Telescope allows us to gaze within a spiral galaxy floating some 27 million light years away from Earth. And that is a beauty. It really is. I love it, guys. Space is gorgeous. Also, in some other fun news sent to me by a viewer on the channel. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. Monster hunters are conducting the largest search of Loch Ness in more than 50 years. Researchers and monster hunters are gathering in the UK's Scottish Highlands this weekend to look for the eternally elusive Loch Ness Monster, the biggest search for the legendary beast in more than 50 years. Somewhere beneath the shimmering surface of the Loch Ness lies Nessie, the legendary sea beast whose reputation spans nearly 1,500 years. At least that's what monster hunters and Nessie enthusiasts from around the world hope to prove Saturday and Sunday. And I'll link to the article and you can read it at your leisure. I don't have a lot of faith in the Nessie legend. I think it's just a legend. But, who knows? I believe in Bigfoot. I think the evidence for Bigfoot is very solid and hints at some really crazy, kooky stuff, paranormal, extra-dimensional kind of stuff. I don't know about Nessie. I haven't seen any solid evidence of Nessie. I'm not aboard the Nessie train. If you can convince me otherwise, however, please link to some good sources in the comments below. But I do think it's fun that they are gathering researchers right now to have a big Nessie, investigation. So I love it. I can't wait to see what they come up with. In other news, here's a great UFO
I'm recording
video.
right now.
This is from a CE5 session. This is an older video, but I've just discovered it on Reddit, and there are some bugs flying around. Don't be confused by the bugs; those are not the UFOs. But there are. But check it out. Okay, so they're using the laser light to communicate or to direct the UFOs, to interact with the UFOs, and they get a really good one. Okay, check it out. Yeah, here we go. All right, so that's the UFO zipping along during the CE5 session. And then, then it's changing course. Oh, and then did you see that? Okay, that was gorgeous. We have to go back to that. Okay, when it zips along like that. Whoa, look at that. Oh, I love it. Now, could that be CGI? Could that be a hologram? Yeah, sure, I guess. Anything could be anything. To me, this looks legit, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this UFO news roundup, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Let me know what you think about Tim Burchett's comments on alien abduction, Ryan Graves' efforts to get commercial pilots to come forward, NASA's efforts to see whether or not UFOs present a safety hazard to their own craft. So let me know what you think about it all in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this, like I said, thumbs up, hit the subscribe button to be notified of, and the bell to be notified of future videos because you don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. And if you could share this video there, that'd be super helpful. There are plenty of other videos to check out on the channel. Oh, and if you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, of course, there's a PayPal button below, or you can become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much. All right, guys. See you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.